the other role that I do know that you've also accepted is that you are the vice chairman of the Southern Cameroon's Alliance. The Southern Cameroon Alliance is an organization which is not very well known quite yet, but obviously you know enough about it to be its vice chairperson. So I'd like you to first of all tell us, why is the alliance relevant 5 years after the struggle, or 5 years after what you just described has happened? Why is the alliance relevant? And then maybe you can also help us tell us what really attracted you to it. And I'm saying this because you do have other organizations that are sitting out there and they're making all kinds of claims.
Okay, so you want me to first talk about the alliance and then I'll talk about why I'm in it?
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. We want to know a little more about the alliance.
So the alliance actually is not just another group. It is an alliance. So there are many, many different groups in, and I can see that other groups are joining the alliance.
Okay.
Now, the one thing I learned about conflict is that no country actually, unless they are preparing for war over a period, like the Greeks used to do or the Romans used to do, they'll take a year to plan that they will go fight a war there because they want territory or they want something.
Mm-hmm.
This war came on us very suddenly, so we're not prepared.
Okay.
Now, what does that mean? It means that people have been learning as we go on.
Okay.
Time, that factor time, has actually educated people about the war, and they've seen now the mistakes that we've made along the way.
Okay.
So the alliance comes together as a family that have like minds because they see the mistake that we've made, and they're coming together to try and correct this mistake. You see? And I don't want to, because if I go into the mistakes now, I will not really be able to answer your other questions.
No, I want you, give me one though. I'd like to hear one of the mistakes that you think have really been made, because I think a lot of people have been talking about mistakes that have been made out there. And I can name some. So I'd like to hear you actually mention one.
Okay, I'll just talk about one.
Yes.
For instance, you hear the IG, you hear interim government, you hear government.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the way the international, and that's where my background comes in, and I'll really talk. When internationally you become a government when you are a country, if you are a revolutionary movement, you have them. You have the SWAPO, you have the PLO organization, but they never call themselves a government until you look like the South Sudan. They became a government when they got their flag recognized and installed in the United Nations. Mm-hmm. So the Security Council actually gives you that sovereignty. You put your flag there. You call your country whatever name you want to call it. We will call us Ambazonia or Southern Cameroons or whatever we want to call it. We will have all the trappings of statehood, and that makes us a country, and we have a government recognized by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine me, I'm a government of Southern Cameroon. I'm the president of Ambazonia or whatever, and I go to talk to another government to say, help me fight my war. It's going to be very difficult for that government to actually come and help you fight or come and do whatever for you, because when they do that, it means that they've recognized you. They recognize you as a government.
Mm.
So it will be very difficult. That's a mistake that we've made. We created a government, or we created governments, and we expect other governments that have sovereignty in the family of governments that support each other to come now and support us. If we are a movement heading somewhere, then they can support us knowing that they are free to do so. We are not claiming to be a government because we are not recognized by the Security Council of the United Nations. The day we will be recognized and we negotiate our way, that is where we say UN mandated negotiation, UN mandated peace agreement, UN mandated. Once we use that and the UN gives us that mandate, they create a pole for us in the United Nations. where our own flag and our own country will be. We will sing our anthem. They will declare a day that is our day of the birth of the nation of, and then other countries will enter the family of countries. We enter that brotherhood of the United Nations, of the African Union. But unless we do that, it will be very difficult for any country to come out and say, we support, we recognize the president of Ambazonia or the president of Southern Africa. We cannot do it. Right.
Wow. So we went into the struggle with one hand tied in a way. That's what you're saying.
Yes. So it became, that's why a lot of countries said it was an internal affair of the government of La République. They don't see us as a separate country trying to fight a war of independence against an occupier. It's very difficult to sell that narrative to the rest of us.
But so what you're saying is that we can have friends who can help us, and we can have friendly governments, but if we are calling ourselves a government, then that prevents them from...
We are on par with them, and we've usurped something that has not been given to us.
Okay.
We are not legal. But when the UN declares, then we are legal. So that's a mistake we've done, and we're trying to correct that. So we are an alliance, we are not a government, and we do things. So we are trying to correct these mistakes. There are others, but I'll leave it at that, because I know that you have other questions for me.
Now that you're saying it, I think the disadvantage of forming governments is not only what you just stated in terms of international help, but it's also it's also the politics that begin to play with the war on the ground. Because if you go down in the territory, our fighters are divided. Our fighters, if you ask them, they're fighting La République. But if you go, you see that they're in factions because they're different factions playing politics with that struggle.
Absolutely.
So now, from what you explained, it seems to me that the alliance saying that we want to free ourselves of this burden in order to pursue the diplomacy. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, so the diplomacy part is the big part, because we want to appeal to other countries to be able to get into that family of nations. We have to get a vote. And the more we can go out and appeal, it's just like, countries of Southern Africa, countries that actually had their independence later in the 70s and 80s, they had to go out and appeal to other countries. And then when the countries support your movement, your liberation organization, PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, SWAPO or whatever, when these nations support your movement for independence or whatever, then you can appeal through them, get their support. But if you come as a government, you are on par with them, and they cannot openly recognize.
All right, I have one other question for you, because knowing our people and knowing this so-called governments that you're just describing, they are going to come fighting back. So how does the alliance respond? Because they're not going to just they're not going to see the sense in what you are saying, because they are right now very politicized, and they have politicized our people, and so it's become a very, very difficult situation. How are you gonna? And have you heard of what they call is it a blue or white army? Have you heard that?
Well, I am going to see. This is my profession. I've worked with countries. I've worked in institutions where governments are members, not individuals. So I know what I'm talking about because of my experience. Let me ask you a question. The governments that we have in place today, what has been their accomplishment making us friends with other governments? Have you seen them go out and any country come and recognize the government of so and so person?
No, but that's not their concern, though. No matter how reasonable or sensible or factual it is, they're going to fight you because, like I already said, to them it's a political game now.
With the Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, you can see our brothers there. the t-shirts they have started distributing the t-shirts. As you can see, some of them are already putting it on. You can see our mama there struggling to put on her own t-shirt. You can see in front of us here, some of our people, the distribution is currently going on, and I want to believe that everybody will have it because the population here is not yet out that much, because many of them went for distribution. Red Cross is doing distribution today, and many went to collect money that Red Cross is distributing. So you are going to get updates later. So we can't continue waiting for them to come because it is almost getting to 4 p.m. here and activities have to begin. Thank you, the Federal Republic of Ambazonia.
If you look at the refugees in Nigeria, his banners there when they send food.
He has a banner, yeah.
So I'm just picking that one because it's just a clear example. Because he is not going to take it lying down. Joe Ayaba, who is revolution, it's not going to suddenly say, oh, the whole time we're wrong, now we've seen the daylight, alliance, go ahead, do some diplomacy. Or they're not going to change themselves and suddenly say we are not a government anymore, we are something different. It's not going to change. So how prepared is the alliance for such a reaction?
Okay, I'm not really worried about how prepared the alliance is for to react to that. I am speaking out of my own professional experience. I have learned this stuff not only in school but on working on the ground. I know how countries relate to one another, and what I'm saying is the brutal truth. I cannot come to my people and tell a lie and keep them waiting for things to happen when they will never happen because of the quagmire in which we are. What I said, and very humbly said, we made some mistakes by forming a government too early. You form a government, but nobody will give you a chair around the table of government unless you follow the rules. There are very strict rules in the international community about how you go about these things. I want to be recognized. I don't declare myself. I allow them to declare me. I put myself at their, and I ask nicely, and they will declare you when they're ready, when you meet the criteria. If you don't meet the criteria, if they don't mandate it, you are out. It's not me who made the rules. I'm only humbly putting my information that I know, because the lives and the destiny of 8 million Southern Cameroonians is at stake.
Okay.
I cannot lie. It's about our children dying for nothing. I want to give them hope. In giving them hope, I must tell the truth. I cannot say I support a government when I know that that government will not result in anything.
Okay. And I'm going to round this up. And I want you to, because, like I just said, these people contribute their money. Our citizens in the diaspora contribute their money, gives them to this middleman, and the middlemen take the money and play politics with. So without our citizens in the diaspora, these people will not be so empowered. So what's your advice to the citizens in the diaspora who are falling for some of these con games that you're describing?
See, people have the choice to do whatever they want. If you want to give your money to somebody, you can go ahead and give your money to that somebody. But me, before I will give my money to anybody, I will know that it is being used for the purpose it was intended, and I will ask you for accountability to show me proof that that money was used for the purpose it was intended. If you choose to give your money so somebody can live lavishly, that is your choice. But if it's about the independence that we are seeking, there is a way that you go to seek independence. And you don't declare yourself independent, because if you do that and you claim to give yourself all the things that make you independent, but you don't have the independence, nobody's going to invite you to the UN one day. Nobody's going to invite you to join the African Development Bank one day, or the World Bank, or get money from the IMF, or get all these things that are the joys of membership. You enjoy membership when you do things correctly, and you become a South Sudan that was not a country recently. Until 2011, South Sudan became the 55th country of Africa. So how do you then became the 54th country of Africa? We are going to be number 55 if we play our games right, if we play by the rules. And just declaring ourselves a country doesn't make us a country.
All right. Thank you. Let me add. I promise this is the last question.
You can go ahead and ask me any question you like. If I can answer, I will answer honestly.
I mean, you have a lot of experience, so when I have this opportunity to draw that information from you and enlighten our people, I think I should. And we do need to, when our people speak, they always wish the shortest struggle. So this is proper. Is it possible for Ambazonians to become the country they want without international support?
It's going to be very difficult. They can become the country they want within the Republic of Cameroon if they can. I don't know how that will happen, because Cameroon has its own idea of the country that it wants Ambazonia to be under it. But if they want to become an internationally recognized UN mandated country, they've got to follow them.
Okay. Well, what I was trying to find out is, can we succeed without some of the international cooperation that you're talking about?
No. The diplomacy is important. You have to have relations with other countries. The family. You cannot come into my family if I don't allow you, if I don't do the adoption papers. It doesn't work. No.
All right. Doctor, I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm sure this is not my last interview, because it seems to me that you have a lot to educate our people, because you've worked in the system, you've worked in the UN system, and you've related with a lot of countries. And I think that we've tried winging it. That's what I call what we've been doing for the past 5 years. We've tried winging it. I think we need to start doing something different now, because our boys on the ground have proven that they can fight. I think what has been missing is the kind of support that they need from us abroad, and some of what Dr. Kilo is talking about. So I just felt like I jump in and bring you on to come and share your experiences and your wisdom, and I really appreciate you for taking the time to talk to us. It's quite a long piece.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and I look forward to having more chats like this with you. It was very interesting. You asked some very good questions, and I hope that in my sincerity and my humility, and if I don't know something, I'll tell you I don't know. If I know, I will emphasize that this is the way it is. You can go look it up in the books, okay?
All right.
I hope we have a chance again to have this chat. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.